Good evening. And I know it's been a long day and a hot day, but thank you for staying back. We know that this session is going to be very insightful, very fun for everyone, and a lot of interaction as Vinod and I speak about what shape are you, and also my book.
Hi everybody. Good evening to you all. It's actually my privilege and pleasure to introduce to you Sneha Shah, author of the book, What Shape Are You? Believe me, I read quite a bit. I've read a lot of books in my life, and it's something that I'm very passionate about. But one of the things I find very difficult to read is these things called the self-help book. How to improve you, how to become better, how to make friends and influence people. പണ്ട് പണ്ടേ ഒരു 4-5 പേജ് വായിച്ചു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ എനിക്ക് തോന്നും എനിക്കിതെല്ലാം അറിയാം ഇതിൻ്റെ കൂടുതൽ എനിക്കൊന്നും വായിക്കേണ്ട കാര്യമില്ല. And I used to find them extremely boring. Sneha was kind enough to send me an advance transcript or advance copy of the book. And believe me when I say this, ഞാൻ അത് വായിച്ചപ്പോഴത്തേക്ക് എനിക്ക് I could not stop reading the book. It's such an interesting and fabulous concept that she's going to share with you today. Geometric shapes, a square, a rectangle, a triangle, a squiggle, or any other shape that you can think of, or a circle. And each one of these represent certain aspects of you or certain aspects of your personality. And from there is what you are defined as a person in the eyes and in the minds of others. And if you are aware, as Sneha says, that if you are aware of what kind of shape you are, then it becomes very easy for you to be able to understand what kind of shape others are. So Sneha, let me move on to straight to the book. I love talking, so stop me in between if I talk too much. Let her do all the talking. Sneha, stop me. So, what shape are you? As I said, very interesting, very riveting book. I finished it so fast, and I didn't believe that I could do that. First and foremost, what prompted you to write such a book?
Now that's a very important question. And Vinod, the way I'd like to answer it is by asking a question to everyone. Can I do that?
Of course you can.
Okay, so this is where you need to answer by raising your hand. The question that I have is this: how many of you have somebody in your life whom you find difficult to deal with? How many of you have somebody in your life you find difficult to deal with? Raise your hand.
Husband and wife can raise hands. Huh?
Both can raise hands. We won't ask you who. But somebody you find challenging to deal with. If you're not raising your hand, you're lying. Yeah, I've done this over and come on, let's see this. Somebody little irritating, frustrating, difference of opinion, and that is something that I deal with all the time, Vinod. Because there are people in our life whom we find challenging to deal with. It could be in the form of parents, it could be in the form of a boss, a sibling, anyone. And when that happens, the question is why people behave the way they do. That's a question we all ask. And this book attempts to answer, why am I the way I am? Why are people different? Why they behave the way they do? And how can I learn to communicate and get along with people much better than what I'm doing now?
Beautiful. So I think without any ado, I think we have some slides. So what we would like to do is to share with all of you the different shapes and what each of these shapes represent.
Yeah.
After that, Sneha will conduct a small exercise with those who want to participate in it, of you defining for yourself as per the description of each shape, what shape are you, and then we will analyze that for you to make you understand better. So let's just go with that.
You know what's amazing, Vinod, that it takes less than 15 minutes to do this.
Sure.
So let's start with a quick exercise, if we can. There are 5 shapes here. And what we need you to do is look at these shapes and tell us which one do you connect with the most. So Vinod, if we can ask everyone, which shape do they connect with the most?
I think because of the incompatibility of the screen, which is the box, a square? Okay. So the blue one is actually a square. Adu korchu extend aipoyi. Technology is still catching up with Sneha. So this is actually a square. This is the rectangle. This is a triangle. This is a circle. And this is a squiggle. Okay? So, idellam kaanam ellarkum. I don't know whether everybody can see it. Oh, no, don't worry. Okay. Can you see it now? Fine. So,
Just take.
each one of you choose in your mind which shape you like the best or you believe you are liking the most or are. So, then we'll define to you what each one means.
Should we do a show of hands later or now, Vinod?
We can do a show of hands now. Let's start with.
Let's ask.
So, all those who think of themselves as the square or what we call the box. So, our friend in yellow there, yes. The lady here. Okay, 3. Any more in the box? 4. Or which
Even him. How
that you have
lovely.
chosen the box. Ah, okay. Yes. I thought he would choose the squiggle. Huh? Okay. So let's take the circle. How many of you emote with the circle?
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Circle. Okay. Okay. Yes, there. Yeah, a lot of people in circle. Wow. Okay. Just for your information, so that everybody appreciates it better, Sneha is a circle. Okay? So, okay, let's move to the rectangle. Actually, it should be a rectangle like this. A rectangle, long rectangle. How many of you feel that you are, okay, that's rectangle. Any hands being raised there? Okay, 1 rectangle. 2 rectangles. Okay. Fine, let's move to the triangle. The fiery triangle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, 11. Lot of takers for the triangle. Why? Because it looks like an exciting color or something like that. Adondana. The color seems better. The color doesn't represent anything, huh? By the way. Now let's go to this. The squiggle. How many of you think you're the squiggle? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You can raise your hand multiple times. Don't worry. 9, 10. Wow. Oh, wow.
Lots of squiggles.
Lots of squiggles, Sneha.
And that's your shape.
Yeah, that's my shape. That's my
Yeah.
shape. So, over to you, Sneha.
All
too.
right. So what's interesting about this entire concept, even Vinod, if you really see it, our personalities can actually be defined using shapes. And each shape has there are certain traits which are connected with each shape. So let's quickly do this. Yeah. The first one, everybody who said a box. Now we'll tell you what does a square or a box really mean. What are those type of people? So I'm going to invite you to really imagine what a box type of person might be like. So a box, Vinod, which I think is your third, right? It's not your dominant. So box type of people are actually the most dependable of all the shapes. So the way boxes will function is like they like everything organized. They like everything structured. They don't like surprises. They like to plan things in advance and they like things going as per plan. They like to have a routine, follow a routine. They also are very cautious as compared to all the shapes. Very quickly, so your boxes are going to be the ones will get a job done. You tell a box, this has to be done. Box will get it done. Very loyal, very trustworthy. Then you also have them as the most, they have a need to be organized. They are also very attentive to details. Small little details. They will label everything. They will put everything in files. All organized, detail oriented. Prefer routines and procedures. Practical, very practical and realistic. Will do things with emotions are there, but prefer to use logic. Will plan for the future. Will take risk only after evaluating and are most structured of all the shapes. So should we ask the question again? How many people?
So how many people raised their hands as boxes? Do you want to continue being the box? Wonderful. So So those also try and think of people who you know in your life, your wife, your mother, your brother, your sister, your friends, who you think could be fitting into this shape. Because this entire session is all about making you understand yourself and making you understand others so that you are able to get along better with them and do things the way things have to be done.
So chances are that you may have a parent, a spouse, a boss, a friend, anybody who could be operating from a box. Remember, we are just doing the tip of the iceberg, but it's interesting. Let's look at the triangle. Now, triangle is also my husband who's down, and that's also Vinod's second shape. How are triangles different, Vinod, from boxes? Because triangles are also very practical, but they are the most ambitious of all the shapes. So triangles are go-getters. They think of a goal and they will get to the goal. While for the box, the process is important, how it is done. Things have to be done right, they have to be done perfectly. For a triangle, it's about getting to the outcome. So very, very quickly, natural leadership shape does not mean box can't be a leader. But triangles like to take charge in any situation, very, very ambitious, focused on the goal. They also make very quick decisions that they need to move towards the goal. They have a need to be right. Try telling a box that you're wrong. Try telling a triangle you're wrong. They are never wrong. They'll tell you why you are wrong to think they are wrong. They also have a, your wife would probably agree with this.
Yes.
No? Yeah, and they have a need to control things. They are highly competitive. They are also, they love to wear good clothes, drive a good car, own a good house, go for good trips. And they are also very diplomatic. So, once again, let's check how many people relate to
A lot of people raise their hands for triangle. Let's see more people. Okay, she agrees vociferously with herself being a triangle. Okay, great.
Yeah?
Great.
Wonderful. Now,
So just a warning to everybody. She's being very nice. For every good thing about a box or good thing about a triangle, there are also many problems. So
Yes.
ചുമ്മാ എനിക്ക് കണ്ടിട്ട് ഞാൻ ലീഡറാണ് അതുകൊണ്ട് എന്നെ നിങ്ങൾ ഞാൻ ട്രയാങ്കിൾ ആണെന്ന് വിചാരിക്കല്ലേ. There are many other aspects to being a triangle or a box too. Every shape has got the good and the bad. So
absolutely. They are the most impatient and bad listeners, Vinod. Triangles.
I think we should read that out.
You know, triangles have a belief that God helps those who help themselves. So don't be a victim. Take charge. Make things happen in your life. Let's look at the circle. That's my shape. Circles are the most loving of all the shapes. Harmony matters, relationship matters. They will give up their need to take care of other people. Then they will be very upset that nobody takes care of mine. I'm so sensitive to other people, but they are not sensitive to me. So circles are excellent communicators because they read body language. So with a circle, Vinod, when I call up somebody and I say hello, I can instantly by their voice know that they are not okay. Something is happening because of that sensitivity.
Empathy, a lot of empathy.
Nurturing, they love harmony, they don't like fights, they don't like conflicts. They are also accommodating to the needs of other people. They are very good listeners, very empathetic, so other people will keep telling them about their problems. They have trouble saying no. They have trouble disciplining or saying you're fired. That's not going to happen with a circle. They have experienced a lot of guilt and they feel, oh, it's probably my fault. I should have done this differently. My question to you guys is, which shape can make them feel guilty very easily? Everybody who said triangle, you're right. Triangle knows how to work with the circle, most friendly of all the shapes. Their belief is, treat other people the way you would like to be treated. That's how it is. So you want to ask them the question, how many circles?
Very few people said circle actually. So now we are getting a few more converts. Yes, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Circles.
Wow, that's quite a bit of them coming up. Everybody's emoting with the concept of being a circle, inclusive, nice, warm personalities, right? Okay.
And squiggle, which is your shape. A lot of people said squiggle. Squiggles are interesting because if you see the shape, they don't like to be boxed. They don't like to be controlled. Squiggles are the most creative of all the shapes. What do we mean by that? It's not about painting or creativity. It's about ideas. They come up with lots of ideas. They have a new idea all the time. So they are the most creative of all the shapes, interested in the world of ideas. They think about the future, they think about possibilities. Remember, box thinks about the past. Squiggle thinks about the future. What is possible? What can be done differently? They focus on the big picture and then they forget the details. So they will come up with ideas, execution is a problem. Every 5 minutes, new idea, and then they are bored. They are expressive and excited. Squiggles will try new things. They are adventurous, new food, new place, everything new. Spontaneous, need stimulation and variety, hate rules. Try telling a squiggle this cannot be done. They don't like to hear that.
You just saw the squiggle in me
Yeah.
remove the chairs and create new space, right? So that's, we don't like being constrained, the squiggles. So.
Yes. And when we came in, I told Vinod, I said, usually the audience is not interacting with the speaker. So he said, but they are not doing it, doesn't mean I can't. Yeah, so they come up with their own rules of how things have to be done. They believe life is short, make the most of it.
Life is short, guys. Make the most of it. Don't get away from that.
And the last is the rectangle. I love this shape because this is not a permanent shape. Rectangle is when a person is going through a transition. So when they are kind of having a change in their lives, where things are not seeming okay, there are a lot of questions. So a rectangle is a shape which is in transition. There's a lot of internal confusion, there is turmoil, there are mood swings, ups and downs, inconsistency, lot of questions. So the person is seeking to ask questions, watching videos, looking at people whom they can follow, searching, learning, growing. They also get easily influenced by people around them. Do this, okay, I'll try that. Do that, okay, I'll try that. They also experience a lot of stress and internal conflict, and they are in a state of transition. So anything in our life can put us through a squiggle, through a rectangle mode. Be it COVID, be it marriage, new job, it could be sickness, it could be anything in our life which puts us through the rectangle phase.
Wonderful. So we forgot the squiggles. Raise your hands. Which were the squiggles? Who wants to be the squiggle? Okay. There were
Look
all
at
of
that,
you
two
raising hands there. Okay, fine. That's good. So, Sneha, what is interesting, I hope all of you have understood what these 5 shapes symbolify or symbolize in your lives. Each one of you is emoted with probably one of them, maybe 2 of them, or maybe 2 or 3 of them, right? So what is interesting for me to find out is, I saw a couple of people raise hands not just for one. So box, yes. Triangle, yes. So does that mean that they're confused people, or does that mean that you can be more than one shape at a time?
Absolutely. So normally it's a wonderful question, because normally it starts with having one dominant shape. This is a shape that we identify with. And then we could have a second shape, which is our supporting shape. That shape supports the dominant shape. And then we will have the others in that order. Like if you look at it, the way my order looks like is this. My topmost is a circle. Shash, one step.
Yeah.
Topmost is a circle, but then I also have a box which supports my circle. My triangle is third, my rectangle is fourth, and my squiggle is least. Does that mean I don't have a squiggle? No, but I would still prefer the other 2 shapes when I'm actually operating in life. And
Wow.
I want to tell you one thing. Why the least shape matters? Because chances are that you are most irritated. Remember the question I asked, difficult people? So chances are that you are most irritated by those people who have your least as their dominant.
As their dominant. So this is interesting. So if you are predominantly a circle, which is your number 1 rank, some people chose circle, some people chose box, you will also have the traits of other people or other personalities within you, right? But that ranking of order is what makes this book, which we are talking about, What Shape Are You? One of the most exciting theories that each one of us can apply to our own lives. And why am I saying this is because while I'm quite old now, and I think if somebody had told me this 30 years back, maybe I would have been a better person. Maybe I would have been better at managing my relationships. I don't know. But I do believe that each one of you is being exposed today to a theory, and a theory that is actually ensnared in total, complete practical knowledge, that if you're able to do this ranking, you will actually be able to lead a better life. And let's talk about that better life. Let's talk about those better relationships, Neha. So I do believe that this is all about relationships. And I'm sure, how many husbands and wives sitting here? Let's see that. On Rand. Young couple, okay. That's a relatively older couple. Any other? Where is the wife?
There.
Okay. Okay, so I'm sure whether you're a very young couple or a middle-aged couple, you must be facing this problem that my wife never understands me from a male perspective and my husband doesn't care about me. He doesn't give a damn. He doesn't give me appreciation. And the husband always saying that my wife is always creating problems. She's always only posing problems and issues and never giving me solutions, right? So it's a common relationship issue. When I read this book, I understood my wife. Hallelujah. I really did. And I said, wow, why wasn't Sneha born earlier and I born later? So that by the time that I got married, I think I would have managed my marriage much better if I had really understood this theory of shapes. So let's talk about that. How can these shapes help people in putting together their lives? What kind of relationships can this dictate for you in your life?
You know, now that you brought the marriage part of it, Vinod, one of the questions that, being a psychologist, and I work a lot with relationships, one question that people always ask me is, are me and my partner compatible? And my question always is, what do you understand by compatibility? And most people believe that being compatible is having similar interests, is not fighting on anything, is agreeing on most things. But the fact of the matter is that you will always be attracted to somebody who's totally different from you.
Okay.
Always.
Always.
It is a psychological design.
Oh, all right.
That we will be attracted to people who are different from us, because that way two halves become a whole.
Yeah.
You know, but then when I expect the person, initially I love the differences. And then when we stay together for more often is when it starts to get irritating. And the fact of the matter is we are attracted. So chances are circles are married to triangles. Chances are boxes could be with squiggles. And then how do I understand what is my shape? What are my preferences? And the fact that the shape of my partner could be totally different, and therefore we have different ways of being, different needs, different likes, different expectations. So that's the crux
amongst
of it.
the couples who raise their hands, let's take the youngest one. What do you see? Are you a box, or are you a triangle, or are you a squiggle? Circle. You're a circle. And ma'am, what are you? You're a squiggle. Wow. So
Nice.
let's take a look at the circle. So at the end of this session, Sneha will give all those people who have participated, will give you a sticker signed specially by her, identifying your shape for you. So please do come and collect it after the session. But let's take a look at both of them.
You know, my prediction is that they both will have a child who's a box.
All right.
Yeah, or probably a little shade of triangle. But it's good because both circle and squiggle are right-brained. So one is ideas, the other person is nurturing and all of that. So chances are that there is not so much of active conflict, but it will come up when you need one person to possibly be the box or the triangle. And organize and take charge. That's where the differences can start to emerge.
So who's the boss? Satyam Baranam. Who's the boss? She's given you permission to say that? Okay. So let's take another couple, or any friends sitting over here, two friends who have known each other for a long period of time. Cool. So let's move on. So let's take each one of these and try and explain to people how they need to manage their relationships. So this book, what we are doing right now, none of you have read the book, right? None of you have seen the book. So do we have a copy of the book to be able to?
Yes, we do. And we also have it here. So I'm just going to show it out.
Yeah. So
And
so the thing is that this book, which is a very easy read, which is around 200 odd pages, very easy read, but once you like what you are seeing of yourself, you will read this book in totality, and it will then help you understand every relationship with your father. Why is it that with my father I am always in conflict? Why is it that with my mother I always find myself easygoing and easier to please? Why are my friends behaving in a particular way, etc.? So I believe that the relationship management that this book is going to teach you is going to be of immense value to you. So Sneha, why don't we, one of the things I noticed about this multiple thing is that over a period of time, as you're a child to growing to a teenager and then to an adult, do these shapes change? Do you become a different personality because of your environment and because of your experiences? Or what you are always remains the core and the rest start activating? How does that work?
Absolutely. You know, so our dominant shape, Vinod,
Sure.
would you like me to sit
No,
here?
no, I'm just, my questions are on the
Ah, you know, the dominant shape of a person, more or less, remains the same. So let me tell you what do I really mean by that. Our shape, Vinod, is normally defined by two things. One is nature, which means what I'm born with. So each person has a certain, just as we have physical characteristics, we also have a psychological blueprint that we are born with. Yeah, so that's a way of thinking, feeling, behaving. So when nature and nurture, which means the environment that we are born in, both of them together tends to impact our dominant shape. And that's how we start having one dominant, which we use more often, and then the other shapes which kind of settle in. But stressful events in our lives or big events in our life can definitely impact the shapes, and you can have some change that starts to happen here.
Okay, so when I was trying to analyze myself post the book, reading the book, I found that at different times of my life and different times in my life currently, I behave sometimes like a triangle, sometimes like a circle, and I'm not as yet able to define myself into a totality of one shape or a dominance of one shape. I believe all of them are working constantly on me and I'm behaving in different ways. So does that make me different, or what does that imply?
So my question to you is, Vinod, have you gone through any kind of a really significant stressful event in your life recently, maybe in the past 1 or 2 years?
The only stress I've had in my life is that I'm alive.
Yeah, so
Life is stress, yeah. So I mean, it happens every day. Stress is, it is about money. It's about, I mean, it's about tanni teelingilum. It is stress, yeah. So if you don't get booze in the evening at 7 p.m., then I'm sitting over here in this. I'm wondering when will I have my glass of cold beer, you know. So that's stress. So I guess nothing. One can't say. Of course, there are many things which one can't share in a public forum like this. But broadly speaking, I think this thing has been that I flit from one shape to the other. I'm sure many people may be feeling that we are not one shape, but we are many shapes. So maybe as an advice to them.
Yes. So the reason I asked you this, Vinod, was that there could be two possibilities. One is that either you are in a rectangle phase where you are using all the shapes and trying to see what fits in to my life right now. Or the second chance is that you have become evolved enough. You've become conscious enough to use the right shape at the right time in the right proportion in your life. And that's a very beautiful place to be. When you're able to use, so that's a question I'll leave to you. Where are you? Either the rectangle or the evolved.
I'm an evolved shape. I'm basically a very evolved shape, guys. So the book is in two parts, if I were to really look at it. One is a part where you are telling people how to become self-aware.
Yes.
Right? The other is the part about how that self-awareness can help you better your awareness of others, understand others better, and therefore have better relationships in life. So my question is that sometimes when I look at these shapes, and I'm sure many of us again could be feeling the same way, is that I want to be a particular shape because, once I understand what each shape is, I like, okay, triangle is a leader, go-getter, achiever, ambitious. So I want to be a triangle, though I may not actually be. So does that lead to any dissonance in personality?
Absolutely. You know, this is very important for everybody to remember that one is what I'm naturally inclined to, what I naturally am. And the second is trying to be something that I'm not. And a lot of times when we try to be something that we are not, and for a long period of time, it creates another level of stress. For example, I'm in a job. So let's say, like you said, I'm a circle. And I'm in a job that requires me to be a triangle all the time. And initially, I will try to do it for some time. But after a while, I can't be something that I'm
It's not coming to you naturally.
and then it leads to a burnout, and I go into a rectangle phase of saying, I don't know, I can't be this, I am not comfortable being that. So, really, this book tells you to answer the question, who am I naturally? And then once I know what's my core, I can use the strengths of the other shape as and when needed, but not out of confusion, out of a conscious choice.
Deliberate action.
Yes,
Okay.
knowing what my base is.
Okay,
So
that's
that-
interesting. So, what she's basically trying to imply over here is that we should always accept the shape that we are instead of trying to change what we think is a better shape. I think that's a very important lesson that one needs to keep in mind when one starts applying this theory into our own lives. Be who you are, accept what you are, and garner the other shapes
Absolutely.
as and when required to be able to better manage situations and relationships.
You know, because we all have tremendous amount of potential, Vinod. So, you know, imagine if a squiggle child is born to a box parent. So chances are that the environment doesn't encourage the squiggleness of that person. In fact, that's looked upon as, why are you so disorganized? Why can't you follow up on anything? Why do you keep coming up with new ideas but you never complete anything on time? You know, why are you so rebellious? So when that starts to happen, a person feels something is wrong with me. And it's not like something is wrong with you. You are just a kind of a person where other people don't really get it because they are of a different shape. And then people go into a crisis. Self-esteem goes down. Confidence is shaken up. I have had patients or clients who come to me who's been a squiggle, and then they decide that no, probably being a box is good. And they try to be a box only to be extremely stressed, confused, unhappy, to a point where they come back and say, I don't know, I think I'm really losing myself. And that's why this understanding who you are and then becoming a better version of yourself is a very strong way of living.
So, you said something very interesting, and I want to probe a little deeper. Parents and child, always, relationship most of the time filled with a lot of conflict. Box parents, squiggle child, triangular parent, driving the
Circle
child,
child,
or
yeah.
a triangular mother who's trying to drive the child to do things which he or she does not want to do. So, I see that. Do you think it's important for parents at an early stage itself in their lives to be able to identify what kind of shape their child is and then behave accordingly? Do you think that will work?
That helps because I do a lot of work on parenting. And the idea is to first of all get parents to become aware that you are a dominant shape, and chances are that you are imposing your way of being on the child. So, and that's creating a lot of confusion and conflict for the child inside. So one is self-awareness, and second is how do you learn to celebrate the strengths of your child? And also, eventually, get them to use all the shapes, but knowing what is their inherent strengths and how they can emerge in their glory. And they don't have to be like you. So that's the whole purpose.
Do we see a movement if this theory actually catches the fancy of people?
Absolutely.
Do we see a movement where people, before they get married, are going to analyze each other's shapes and then decide, Ketana Vende? You think that could happen? How many people agree with that? It may be a good idea. You can't stop yourself from falling in love, but you can stop yourself from getting married to the wrong person, right? So, yeah.
Yes.
So, fall in love freely, but marry only the person whom you think is eventually going to be right for you. So this is the book.
Yeah.
This is the secret which is being shared with you by Sneha. She is going to tell you how to choose the right partner so that you have a very good and interesting and peaceful, successful married life. Does that
No,
make sense?
no,
Okay,
I
I knew.
disagree. I disagree because, you know, Vinod, we will always have a challenge. Imagine two boxes getting together and getting married. I feel it's the most boring marriage ever because both are organized, both detail oriented, both working within a box. Then how do you go beyond that? So chances are that there is amazing possibility in getting married to somebody who's different from you. But the change happens when you are able to be aware. Who am I? Who is the other person? How do I deal with myself? What will I get triggered with? How do I manage those triggers? That's when the relationship becomes beautiful. When you communicate, when there is a lot more acceptance, there's a lot more respect for differences, when there is a lot more space for each other to be who we are. That makes the difference, Vinod. There's no concept of the right person, really.
That I agree. I mean, even God did not get it right.
Thank you.
Wow. Louder claps, please. Thank you so much. So, students, you know, who are at a very pivotal point in their lives, who are thinking of entrepreneurship is the new game. Everybody wants to be an entrepreneur. Everybody wants to own the billion-dollar valuation company, and everybody wants to be rich. So, students and young adults who are getting into their life, into fresh careers, this knowledge, in my opinion, if I know that I am a circle or I am a box type person, are there certain professions suited for certain
Yes,
shapes?
absolutely.
So can you throw some light on that? Yeah.
Absolutely. Because, you know, if you are, imagine, we usually say this. Nobody could think that we could fly in planes, Vinod. That was not a possibility. But one squiggle said, why not? You know, why can't we fly in planes? So came up with the idea, that's a squiggle one. Then a triangle said, looks amazing. Lot of people would like to fly in planes. Why don't I make it into an idea that can fetch me money, that can be created into something big? That's a triangle. A box said, but this is great. How do we execute the idea? How do we create it into actual steps? You know, that's when the manual was written by a box. So, you know, when you're changing planes, you've got an engineer who comes in and very quickly, within 10 minutes, checks the plane. And they are always following a list that they need to tick. That's created by a box. You know, so a lot of engineers would come there. I work with chartered accountants. A lot of them are boxes, triangles. Doctors have a different kind of a thing. Circles are the ones who said, great, planes are amazing. SOP and manual is done. How do we create it into a wonderful customer experience? That's where the circle came into play. And the rectangle said, let's learn from our mistakes. Let's keep learning. So if you see, all shapes have clear strengths. And if they choose a profession that brings out their, as a psychologist, my circle works fabulously for me, because I'm able to really get where people are coming from. My husband can't stand doing a psychology session at all. He thinks business. And that's how we've trained 75,000 people, 10 countries. Our work has been translated not because of me, because of him. You are an entrepreneur. New, Nair on fire, by the way. The most authentic Kerala food in Mumbai. Everybody knows it. Celebrities order from them. Why? That squiggle made it happen. You know, so you need to know what your strengths are. You very quickly knew you would not like to be working under a boss. And that's what got you the success that you did in life.
So it's important to know what you're saying. So if you know that you're a particular type, then is there a way in which one can define the best professions to be in? Because of that, is there some online thing that you have available? Is there a way in which I can actually analyze myself, you know, algorithmically, quantitatively to know where I stand? Is there a test, or is there something that you have?
We haven't done too many studies around that. The reason being, people don't want to box, you know, that this job will only need this type. Yeah. That's a limitation. But I think when you want to take a job, you have a very clear understanding, what will this need? Do I have it? What will this environment need? Do I have it? Once your answer is yes, that's right for you.
So is there any kind of a test that you have which talks about how to identify what shape each one of us is?
Yes, we do have an online assessment where you actually get your score on each of the shape. What is your dominant? What is your second? What is the least? And this is something we thought. The book is actually going to be launched on February 22nd. So it's still in the pre-order stage right now. So for everybody in the audience as well, and you've read the book. So who is pre-ordering today will get an assessment, which is 1,500 rupees currently, of course. That assessment is for free.
Or if you buy the book,
Yeah.
what is the cost of the book?
I don't know.
What is the cost of the book, Shashank?
He knows. He's the triangle.
399 rupees book, and you get 1,500 test free. So I think it's a no-brainer. All the triangles and all the squiggles and all the circles should buy this book, right? The rectangles need to consult with her. So just kidding.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's amazing. See my answer. I don't even know what's the price of the book, and he does.
He does.
So that's because that's never my focus, and that talks about my shape. If you see, I'm holding the circle there, which is my dominant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's what the book says.
Okay.
And it says, discover who you really are and how to handle everyone who isn't like you, which is 75% of the world, by the way. 75% of the world, research says, is going to be people who are completely different from you.
So one question which comes to my mind while we are having this discussion. I know that I am, let's say I know that I am a triangle, right? So I am interacting with someone, one of my friends or my wife or my brother or whatever, and because I know I am a triangle and I am self-aware, sometimes doesn't that lead me to say that, look boss, this is the way I am. I am like this only, so don't try to change me. I am a triangle, you're a box, you'll always be like this, so you either accept me. So can this also be a small wrong thing that we end up doing by leveraging our self-awareness to justify our behavior?
Very good question. Vinod, I'm going to turn it around to you. That if you were to tell your friends, I'm like that only. I'm a triangle, take it or leave it. I'm a box, take it or leave it. What is it going to do to your relationship with those people?
Obviously, it's going to screw it up. Sorry, we are on camera. Obviously, it's going to spoil the relationship. So, but I mean, once I've understood myself and I don't want to change. If I don't want to change, I have only the justification of saying that this is what I am.
Absolutely.
And therefore accept me as I am.
Absolutely. So we are not saying change, but become aware of who you are and recognize that the person who's standing in front of you could be of a different shape and they have their own shape language. So my husband can talk to me like a triangle and we can have a complete disconnection because I'm a circle and his triangleness can be very blunt. Or he can recognize that I'm a circle and there are certain things which my shape needs. Like for me, when I'm upset, this is such a wonderful example. He's a triangle, I'm a circle. Whenever I'm upset or I'm angry, what do you think I need being a circle? Let's ask you, what do I need? If I'm a circle and I'm upset, what do you think I need? Care.
A beer?
No, that's a squiggle. Yeah, a care. So I like that, he should listen to me. Don't give me solutions. Be a good listener. Just listen to me. Don't give me solutions. Just give me some space. But what will a triangle try to do? What's the solution? Fix it. Why are you upset? Don't be upset. Do this, do that. Very impatient, immediately giving advice. And then I'm going to be totally disconnected. And if he's going to say, but I'm triangle, I'm not changing. I'll say, too bad. I'm disconnected with you. So one is become aware and second is learn to speak other people's shape language. It will change your relationships forever.
Wow, that's interesting. Learn to speak other people's shape language.
Yes.
Okay, so that means there is a language that each of these shapes has or understands, And if we are able to now, if I'm speaking in Malayalam and you can't understand me, there is always going to be
Exactly.
conflict. So, right? So, if we understand the shape language of the other person and we speak in that shape language to that person, you will probably have a better relationship. Wow,
Absolutely.
that's quite a
And
brilliant.
that's what the book is intending to do. It talks about relationships, it talks about us in stress, it talks about marriage, and it says, and about other areas of our life, and it says, learn who you are and know that people in the world are not the same as you. Learn to speak their shape language and watch your relationships, your communication, professionally or personally, totally change.
I think that's a very, very deep insight that one has received. One more insight I received when I was reading a book, something that really stuck in my mind. One of your chapters says, you don't always have to be right. And I lived all my life believing, thinking, and trying to convince others that I am right. My way or the highway. There is nothing else you can do. So when I read this line, it suddenly made me realize, actually pushed me back a bit, and I said, there were so many times when I could have let go.
Yes.
Because it was not important that whatever I am thinking is the right thing. So
Yes.
how does that translate into action?
Which shape will have this thought? I need to be right. Absolutely right. Because you were in a triangle mode, and chances are that you had circles in your life or boxes in your life who didn't say anything. But eventually, they accumulated all the pain, the upset for you trying to prove yourself right. And that is not a nice feeling. Then you had to go and repair those relationships and do all of that. But it's usually even driven by shapes. Like, for a circle, Vinod, what my problem is, I don't know how to say no. I don't know how to draw a boundary in a relationship, and that creates my own problems as I go along. Because then people walk over me completely. So your problem could be different, my problem could be different, a squiggle's problem is different, a box's problem is different. So that's how it works.
So does everybody need to actually have somebody who's mentoring them in this, or is this book
No,
going
the
to
book
help
is
people?
enough.
So if you read the book, it'll help you
Yes.
manage your relationships better.
Yes,
That's-
much more aware. And of course, we have the website, lot of free videos, resources that you can, and hopefully other books that will
So
follow.
what's next, Neha, after this? This
My
is the
thing
first
is,
book, yeah.
which I shared with you, so something which is around relationships, around women, for leadership, that's the whole plan for
I
next.
think if I would really look at what shape are you as an applicable science for women, especially in a country like ours where women are constantly, today we are talking about women empowerment. And how do you think this kind of awareness of themselves can help women become better or achieve better or be happier?
That they don't have to be only circles in their life. Women a lot of times are expected to play the circle nurturing role. So I would say, as a woman, who are you dominantly? How can you expand and become the best version of yourself? How can you use all these shapes for your own growth? And secondly, how do you manage all these multiple roles, multiple people in your life by understanding this whole shape psychology? So I see it truly empowered.
So I may sound very stereotypical, and you may call me an MCP. I always, when I think of women, I'll slot them automatically into a circle. The triangle or the squiggle is something that they have to prove to me rather than me accepting them that they are. So how do women avoid this kind of stereotyping in their lives using this knowledge?
No, it's traditionally there. It's inbuilt in the culture, but it's changing now. And I think the more circle is a very feminine energy. But now as women are achieving things, they are going out, they are also embracing the triangle in themselves. They are also embracing the squiggle, spontaneity, adventure. I want to do my own thing. That's where, but the men also need to move. They also need to embrace their own circle. So I love that you're a circle. Embrace their own circle, embrace their own other shapes, so that both women and men are able to balance the masculine and feminine energy. What wonderful children they would have when they are able to embrace all parts of themselves. So children are not then typeset into one or the other shape. I think it's beautiful.
So Should women therefore be more aware of their capabilities beyond that of being the stereotypical circle?
Absolutely, because then they are expected and pushed only into that. Shashank's mom actually is going through that crisis. She's originally a squiggle, but she was expected to be a circle. And now she's like, I'm done. I don't want to be this anymore. I want to be the squiggle. I want to go out. I want to live my life. But now she's facing the pushback from the environment who says, why are you not being a circle? You have to be the circle and not the squiggle. But that fight is something which she's doing now at 55, which she could have possibly done when she was 30 and lived both.
So for people who are in the older generation, see, we've spoken about the students, the youngsters, etc., but there's the older generation, most rigid in the way they are, right?
Yeah.
All of them have gone through their own experiences, believe that they've seen a lot of the world. Now, at this point in time, if you make somebody at the age of 55, 60, 70 understand what shape they are in, do you think that that's going to change them or help them
Oh,
change?
yes. It actually, because you have a higher chance of being more evolved as you grow older than what you are when you are younger. So I think, Vinod, this is a beautiful thing for all age groups.